And I want to begin today framing the importance that day one we fulfill the promise of mass deportations. The American people were presented with a clear choice. Kamala Harris wanted open borders. Donald Trump wanted mass deportations. Now, mass deportations is something that most Republicans were afraid to ever utter or mention. Donald Trump ran on it, and he won a landslide popular vote victory with the promise of mass deportations. Today is Wednesday, November 20th, and I'm telling you right now that this is going to be the biggest sticking point of the administration the first 30 days, unless Joe Biden gets us into a nuclear war with Russia, of which is happening in real time. The sticking point is going to be Donald Trump trying to fulfill the mandate and fulfill his promise to deport illegal foreigners that have come into our country. Now, breaking news today, that maniac, evil person, 26-year-old from Venezuela, today was finally convicted of murder. Malice murder, felony murder, aggravated battery, aggravated assault. Jose Ibarra for murdering Laken Riley in Athens, Georgia, a gang member. He was arrested while in the United States prior to Riley's murder. However, Joe Biden decided not to deport him. Since Joe Biden decided not to deport Jose Ibarra, a Tren de Aragua member, he went and murdered Laken Riley as she fought for her life on a jogging trail in Athens, Georgia. She fought for 18 minutes. She fought for her life. This is going to be the big fight, everybody. As we ramp up, we have the confirmation fights on one side, and we have the fights to deport the foreigners on the other side. Let's play cut 52.
Ibarra, illegal alien, accused of killing Laken Riley. Hearing the verdict now. Let's watch.
Count 1, malice murder. I find the defendant guilty. Count 2, felony murder. I find the defendant guilty. Count 3, felony murder. I find the defendant guilty. Count 4, felony murder. I find the defendant guilty. Count 5, kidnapping with bodily injury. I find the defendant guilty. Count 6, aggravated assault with intent to rape. I find the defendant guilty. Count 7, aggravated battery. I find the defendant guilty. Count 8, obstructing or hindering a 911 call. Find the defendant guilty. Count 9, tampering with evidence. I find the defendant guilty. Count 10, peeping Tom. I find the defendant guilty.
Jose Ibarra, a lack of the will of our federal government, in fact, a will to keep him here, is why Laken Riley is dead today. Donald Trump won the election on the promise of mass deportations. And I could tell you, spending time in and around the Trump transition office, which is why we are still live here in Palm Beach, they are focused like a heat-seeking missile on mass deportations. And they're going to be fought on every single possible front. They're going to be fought legally. There'll be protests in the streets. You see, allowing foreigners to occupy our homeland is critical to the Democrats' agenda, critical for future voters. Stephen Miller is the Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy and the Senior Advisor over the Department of Homeland Security. Nobody understands this issue as intimately as Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller understands exactly what is necessary to be able to act upon the largest deportation force in American history. And yes, no matter what the left says, we are going to continue. We are going to continue until our country improves. This Venezuelan street gang is in 16 states: California, Nevada, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, Texas, Louisiana, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia, Illinois, Wisconsin, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, and New York. Democrat leaders such as Katie Hobbs of Arizona, J.B. Pritzker in Illinois, Jared Polis in Colorado, Maura Healey from Massachusetts, Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, and Michelle Wu are going out of their way, and Gavin Newsom, to say that they will protect illegals. Well, get out of the way because Tom Homan is on his way. These are invasion forces that have occupied and domiciled themselves on the American homeland. And Liberation Day is coming. Play cut 42.
the moment that President Trump puts his hand on that Bible and takes the oath of office, as he has said, the occupation ends, Liberation Day begins. He will immediately sign executive orders, sealing the border shut, beginning the largest deportation operation in American history, finding the criminal gangs, rapists, drug dealers, and monsters that have murdered our citizens and sending them home. No one will be allowed to enter the country illegally, and ICE will be empowered in partnership with FBI, DEA, ATF, the National Guard to fully seal and secure the border with CBP and to find and identify the criminal threats that are inside this country and send them back home.
This is the fight that is necessary. The fight in front of us. The largest deportation force in American history. Mass deportations will be enacted, and every measure and every form of government will work collaboratively to get it across the finish line. And it's going to be a massive information warfare project, but in Laken Riley's memory, we will carry on her fight. In the memory of all the young ladies who will be murdered if we do not get this done. What you just heard there is the incoming Deputy Chief of Staff of the White House, Stephen Miller. Playtime is over. And if a Democrat gets in our way, well, then Matt Gaetz very well might go arrest you. If you are getting in the way of the execution of the federal laws, the American people want these foreigners removed from our homeland. And that's what they're going to get. The table is set to make sure another Laken Riley situation does not happen again. I want to continue on the immigration thing, but first there is some amazing, we all need a rest from polls. Can we all agree we need some rest from polls right now? There's just too many polls. We have been polled out the last 2 years. However, I will say this is a great poll from The Economist. And this is the work of Turning Point Action. This is the work of all of you that get behind the work we are doing on college campuses. This is the work of worldview formation that we do on our educational side of Turning Point USA. This is the power of TikTok. This is the power of Instagram, the power of X. According to The Economist, with 1,400 registered voters, Donald Trump, between ages of people 18 to 29, has a 19-point favorability rating. 57% of people ages 18 to 29 view Donald Trump favorably. 38% view him unfavorably. Now, baby boomers, interestingly enough, baby boomers are -3 opinion of Donald Trump. So Donald Trump and his incoming administration, again, we won the election, so some of this is just interesting. It's not instructive. It doesn't tell us anything about any immediate politics, but it does show that there very well might be a generational realignment happening. And we just need to keep on capitalizing on it. That's exactly why we are casting this vision at Turning Point USA and Turning Point Action these next couple of years that will be the most bold and aggressive and boundary pushing that Turning Point has ever done. You see, people are asking, Charlie, are you going into the White House? Again, I was not offered. However, I could have asked for something potentially. No, I want to help on the outside. I want to help on the outside to make sure that we capitalize on this once-in-a-century realignment. There is a generational reconfiguration, and this could make the country profoundly conservative for the next generation. When young people are more conservative than their parents, not just a little bit, but 22 points more conservative, that's a remarkable development. And I'll say it once, I'll say it again. If it was not for the youth vote, Donald Trump would not be president-elect. We won the youth vote in Michigan. We nearly won at Wisconsin. We nearly flipped Center County. We were 50-50 basic with youth vote in Pennsylvania. We won the youth vote in Arizona, won the youth vote in Nevada, almost won it in Georgia, and almost won it in North Carolina. Out of those 7 swing states, if we would have gotten blown out with younger voters we did in prior elections, we'd be on the outside looking in. President Trump delivered the most unexpected American comeback story because younger voters lifted him up to the White House. Boomers were not as excited. Again, many of you guys in the audience are boomers, are exempt to that, but the data is the data. Now, why is that? Young people are insanely poor. Their dollar's worth next to nothing. They can't afford homes. They're tired of this totalitarian political correctness. And Donald Trump is the coolest political figure for ages 18 to 29. And it's not even close. The Democrats don't have anybody like this. From doing the Trump dance at the NFL, from going to UFC, Donald Trump is a symbol of cultural rebellion. He is a symbol that you can do anything if you put your mind to it. Donald Trump represents, to this younger generation, someone that can fight the man, fight the system, and still succeed. Older voters have different opinions of him. And younger voters are the ones that want the mass deportations. In fact, younger voters are more on board for the deportation force than people in their 50s or 60s. That's just public polling. This is Tom Homan, who, by the way, will be at America Fest. Tom Homan is now a confirmed speaker for America Fest, amfest.com. Deportations are coming to a neighborhood near you. Play cut 62.
I hear a lot of people say, the talk of a mass deportation is racist. It's threatening to the immigrant community. It's not threatening to the immigrant community. It should be threatening to the illegal immigrant community.
What would the largest deportation in American history look like to you?
Well, let me tell you what's not going to be first. It's not going to be a mass sweep of neighborhoods. It's not going to be building concentration camps. I've read it all. It's ridiculous.
But if mass deportation is not going to be, as you said, massive sweeps and concentration camps,
there'll be concentrated,
what is it?
There'll be targeted arrest. We'll know who we're going to arrest, where we're most likely to find them based on numerous investigative processes.
Let me tell you what's happening, is that ICE, Border Patrol, ATF, FBI, they have these lists that Biden has told them not to act upon. We know who they are. We even know where they live. And ICE is waiting. We are 61 days out. We are 61 days out until the government gives a green light. Day one, Donald Trump says, "So help me God." Donald Trump goes into the outer room of the Capitol, doesn't waste any time, and will sign executive order after executive order, allowing ICE to do their job, putting Remain in Mexico back in place, and allowing the securing of the southern border. And that is exactly what younger voters demanded, and that is what they will get, without which Donald Trump would not be president-elect. Everybody, thanks so much for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the bell. We're doing so much good work here at Turning Point USA. Also, get your tickets to AmFest. That's amfest.com, the biggest party of the year in Phoenix Convention Center. We have Tucker Carlson and really big speakers coming. I'll be there. It's going to be unbelievable. Meet your future husband, future wife. It's going to be great. Amfest.com, amfest.com. Get there. Go get the tickets. It's going to be amazing. And again, please subscribe and hit this bell. We appreciate it. And if you listen to audio podcasts, subscribe to the Charlie Kirk Show podcast. That's Charlie Kirk Show podcast. We won, everybody. We won. I need to get this hat. Daisy, can you get me one of these hats? We won. And if you guys want a limited edition signed MAGA hat right here, last thing I'll say is become a member, members.charliekirk.com, to get a limited edition MAGA hat. We have 5,000 to send out, don't we, Daisy?
Over, like 8,000 now.
We have 8,000 hats I have to sign. 8,000 hats. God bless.